Hey, everybody. This is Sharika Matthews of Live Life Beyond Barriers. Welcome to another edition of Soulful Conversations. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Wednesday. We are at, the middle of the week and, we're just halfway there. And I don't know about you guys, but this week has been a very full and amazing week. Like when I get to the weekend, I'm gonna rest. I don't know about y'all, I'm gonna rest. But I do want to thank you guys so much for joining me here every night at 8 p.m. for Soulful Conversations. I know that you guys have a busy schedule. I know that you have plenty of things to do, and there are other things you could be doing at this particular time. But you have taken the time out of your busy schedule to join me here for a conversation that could potentially help you elevate your life and change even the trajectory of your whole entire life. When I created this series for Soulful Conversation, I really had to sit down and think about what do you need, because I get a lot of private messages. I get comments on different posts that I share here on my public page, as well as inside of my private Facebook group called Rebuild, Restore, and Reignite Your Life. And what I realize is that there are things that are just common to a lot of people. There are things that we all tend to struggle with. We all tend to have questions about. So I kind of looked through everything. I looked through even some of your personal Facebook pages as well, and looked at some of the things that you post about, that you have questions about, that you struggle with. And I decided these are the topics that I see that are popping up a lot more often on my timeline, a lot more often in my private messages. So I want to give you some information that would just help you make your life a little bit easier and help you fully step into the woman that God really created you to be. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit the share button, whether you're watching this video live or you're watching this on the replay. Share this video with your friends and with your family, because like I said, if you have a question about this, if you are struggling with this, chances are there's at least 3 people in your circle who struggle with the same thing. And so who are we to keep all information to ourselves, right? Sharing is caring. So go ahead and hit the share button and share with your friends and family. So tonight, our topic is on how to stop starting over every single time that you begin to start something. And I made this post earlier today. Starting over in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. There are going to be times where you need a clean slate, when you need to start over, where you have to trash everything that you once did, everything that you once built, so that you could build something new and build something fresh. But that's not the part that we have trouble with. The part that we have trouble with is when we begin to find ourselves in this cycle or this repeated habit of always starting over. When we start to, let's say, lose weight, you lose weight for 2 months, then you gain it all back, so you have to start all over again. Or you are you're trying to rebuild your relationship, and you say, oh, I have to start all over from scratch. You're trying to build your self-esteem. Oh, I have to build this all over from scratch. You're trying to accomplish a goal at work or a goal in your business. And you're like, I keep starting over. Every time I try something, it's not working, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and all this good stuff. And so what you're doing is not necessarily wrong, but what's tripping you up is this thought process which guides your actions, that's forcing you to keep starting over. And that's something that we want to stop, because if you are constantly starting over from the very beginning, you keep going backwards. You're not going forward. If you keep taking, let's say, 5 steps forward, and you have a mistake, or you have a setback, or you even have a failure, and it knocks you 1 or 2 or 3 steps back, then you say, oh, I just got to start over. You're going all the way back to square zero and starting over. So you've taken yourself back even further than what that setback or that mistake has even set you back. So you're part of the reason why you feel as if that you cannot get ahead. So what I want to do tonight is share with you a 5-step process to help you to stop starting over all the way from scratch, so that you can actually start making progress in your life. And so, as always, for those of you who are new to me, because I know that I have a whole lot of new people who are joining me here on Facebook, I just want to reintroduce myself. My name is Sharika Matthews of Live Life Beyond Barriers, and officially, yes, I am a coach. I am a life and relationship coach. But what I really do is that I coach and I teach and I serve women who are in this place in their lives where they feel as if they've lost a sense of who they are, or they need to uncover who they truly are because they have spent so much time pouring out and giving to everybody else, giving to their jobs, giving to their children, giving to their relationships, giving to their responsibilities, giving to everything and everybody else but themselves. And they haven't had the time, the energy, or the resources to actually pour into themselves so they could feel good and look good and do good in the world. So what I do is that I give you information, I give you resources, I help you create a plan and a strategy to help you love yourself more, to help you make your life a little bit easier, and then help you to fully step into that powerful, unapologetic woman that you were always created to be. So that's who I am, and that's what I do, and that is the purpose of this soulful conversation as well. Is to give you not only the information and the inspiration, but to bring it all together in a way that makes sense for you so that you can apply it to your life and then make tangible changes and make tangible results happen in your life. So that's really the purpose of all of this, and this is what I do. So if you haven't already, go ahead and grab pen and paper, because if you've been with me since Sunday, you know that I'm giving you a whole lot of information. Hey, Rachel, thank you for joining. Go ahead and grab pen and paper for notes. If you haven't hit the share button, go ahead and share this video, because I know it's going to bless you, and it's going to bless you. It's going to bless whomever that you decide to share this with. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into tonight's information. Like I said, the topic of tonight is to share with you this 5-step process that I use and that I teach some of my clients as well to use to apply to their lives, to apply to their business, to apply to their relationships, or whatever area of life that you're struggling with. This 5-step process will help you move forward, will help you accomplish goals, and help you overcome setbacks and distractions, or even sometimes mistakes and failures, so that you can actually move forward instead of going all the way back to the beginning and starting from square one. So the first thing that you have to do, step number 1, is decide. You have to make a decision. You have to decide what it is exactly that you want and how bad do you want it. So if you're talking about you want to rekindle your marriage, what exactly does that look like? You say that you want to achieve financial stability. Well, how much money does that require? You said that you want to get healthy and lose weight. Well, what is your ideal weight and how much weight do you want to lose? You say that you want a new career. Well, exactly what type of career do you want? What do you see yourself doing, and who do you actually see yourself working for? And that is a key component there. Sometimes when we set goals and we set out on this journey, our goals and our vision, they're not specific enough in order for us to stay focused. You see, if you don't have a clear picture in front of you that you can actually get laser focus on, it's easier to get distracted. Think about your eye exam, right? I know, I don't know what this particular test is called, but when you go take an eye exam, they have you lean into this machine and stare at this picture until it comes into focus. And if you ever notice, when you're trying to gain focus on that one image, your eye tends to move around a little bit. And it's trying to, your lenses are contracting and constricting and constricting and contracting in order to try and get focused in on that picture. But as soon as it locks in, as soon as that picture gets clear, your eye becomes still. And that is the same thing that happens when you focus on a clear picture. When you know exactly what kind of job you want, when you know exactly what company you want to work for, when you know exactly how much money you want to get, when you know exactly what you want out of your marriage, out of your relationship, when you know exactly what you want of yourself as far as your weight loss goals, or your professional goals, it is easier for you to get focused on that and stay focused so that if anything happens out there, you're not easily distracted because you can't confuse it with what's in front of you. Because when you're unfocused, the vision that's in front of you is blurry. The lines are blurred, the colors are blurred, and it tends to bleed over into everything. But when you're focused, everything is sharp. The lines are sharp and specific. You know where the boundaries are. You know exactly where you're going. You know exactly what you're looking at. So you have to decide and get very clear on what it is that you want. And then you have to understand how bad do you want it. Decide, not even understand, but decide how bad you want it. Because this is part of the process that in the moment, when you are making a decision about your life, your relationship, your health, and all that good stuff, in that moment, you want it more than anything else. But as soon as that moment passes, we tend to get distracted. Let's use weight loss, for example. Let's say, for example, you went out and you bought these cute pair of jeans, right? And you buy your normal size. You know that you gained a little bit of weight, but you haven't gained that much weight because your pants at home still fit. So you buy this pair of jeans, and then you get home and you put them off and you get cute for a hot date with your husband or a hot date with your man or whatever the case is. You put them on. Oh, my God, you can't zip it up. You're like, what in the good Lord is going on? And you're like, oh, my God, I know that I gained some weight, but this is freaking ridiculous. I can't even pull up over my hips. This is a fundamental problem. And so in that moment, losing weight is number one. Losing weight is your strongest desire because you refuse to buy a pair of pants in a larger size because, no, this is not going to happen. This is not going to work for me. And so in that moment, you want that more than anything. It is important for you to stay in that size 6 or that size 10 or that size 18 or whatever size you're in so that you don't have to go to the next level. However, you can't fit in the jeans, so you find an alternative. You find an old pair of pants or an old dress or something or a sundress that's a little bit more forgiving so you can feel comfortable in going out. But as soon as your husband comes home or as soon as the girls come over, as soon as the children gets home from work and they want to order pizza, that desire, that burning desire that you had to lose weight goes away. You're like, I might as well just go ahead and eat pizza. And so now you're going back into the bad habits. Now you're going backwards you're going backwards away from your goal. You're not actually going towards your goal. And so before you actually, hey, Rochelle, thank you for joining. Got a Rachel and a Rochelle. I love it. So you have to set up in your mind before the obstacles, set an intention of how bad do you want it. And then, so now you're clear on what you want. You know how bad you want it. Now, the other part of it is how much are you willing to pay? This is a question that you should definitely write down. How much are you willing to pay? And I'm not always talking about money, but how much are you willing to give? How much are you willing to sacrifice to attain what it is that you desire? This is something else we don't often think about. And I'm going to use the example of losing weight because it's just the easiest example I could think of right now. But in the object of losing weight, you're saying, I need to lose 20 pounds. I want to lose 30 pounds or 20 pounds. And, I want this really bad. I don't care what obstacle comes my way. I don't care how much pizza and ice cream is sitting in front of me. I want to lose weight. So now the question becomes, what are you willing to pay for? Are you willing to still go out with your friends, to go out to dinner with your husband, to still go to corporate events? Yes, those are beautiful names, Rochelle. Are you still willing to go out to corporate events and not eat the fatty foods, not eat the second helping of dessert, to choose to eat salads and choose to eat the grilled chicken instead of the steak? Are you willing to go to that extent and risk having people say, oh, you must be on a diet. Oh, you eating that rabbit food. Oh, you shouldn't even be doing that. Are you willing to make that sacrifice and pay that price to possibly be ridiculed by others for a dream, for a vision, for a goal that only you can see, and you're the only person that it's important to. Are you willing to pay that price? Are you in the, let's say you have a goal of becoming a top executive in your company or starting your own business. Are you willing to pay the price of staying up on the weekends or working late in the evenings or having to sit through boring meetings that you really could be doing something else instead of sitting in the meeting? Are you willing to pay that price? Because if you don't get in your mind that you have to give of something in order to receive of something, as soon as something requires something of you, you'll be ready to give up. You'll be willing to say, oh, I ain't doing that. You know, use an example, weight loss again. I know that there was this weight loss program I did a couple of years ago. I loved it. And I'm going to do that weight loss program again. And it's not just about weight loss. It's about strength training and all this good stuff. But when I told my friends about the program and what it was required of me to lose the weight and get the strength that I gained, they're like, oh, I can't do that. Cut out carbs? Girl, no. You want me to eat salad 3 times a day? Oh my God, no. I can't do that. And so for those people, the price that I paid, they were not willing to pay that price, but they were not willing to get the results that I got either. So you have to ask yourself, what price are you willing to pay? Hey, Melissa, thank you for joining. What'd you say, Rachel? Yes, you have to pay the cost to be the boss. Yes, ma'am. You have to pay the cost to be the boss of your life, the boss of your relationship, figuratively, the boss of the results that you want to receive in your life, because nothing is going to come by happenstance. If you choose not to take charge, if you choose not to set your intention, if you choose not to get clear and make a clear decision of what it is that you want, guess what? Life, other people, other folks' problems, other folks' opinions are going to make those decisions for you. And you'll find yourself working in a job that you hate. You'll find yourself sitting on the couch every evening eating bonbons. You'll find yourself sitting in front of the computer all the time, not doing anything. Hey, Audra, thank you for joining. Hey, Donnell, thank you for joining as well. You will find yourself living your life according to other people's standards, according to other people's visions, according to other people's limitations. Can you imagine that? Living to other people's limitations, all because you have chosen not to be the boss of your life, all because you have chosen not to set a clear goal, all because you have chosen to not be willing to pay the price for what it is that you want. And so make sure that the price that you're willing to pay is worth the value what you're asking for. I just thought about that. Make sure that the price that you're willing to pay is equal to or more than the value of what it is that you're asking for. I'm going to go to the example of a diamond earring. We all know that diamond earrings have a certain value. If you want a 1-carat pair of diamond earrings, you have to be prepared to pay $1,000 or more, depending on the quality of it. So you cannot go into the store and say, you know what, I only want to pay $50 for a pair of diamond earrings and expect to get the results of having walking out the store with a pair of diamond earrings. You have to use the example of a car. Let's say you want a Mercedes-Benz. You know that in order to get a Mercedes-Benz, that you have to have good credit, you have to have a job, you have to have, hey, Afia, thank you for joining. You have to have, let's say, about $10,000 to put down the car. You have to have all these different requirements in order to walk out of that dealership with the keys to the car in your hand. If you do not have all those things in place, if you are not willing to have the good insurance, to have the good credit, to have the money, to have the job, to have a source of income, guess what? You do not have enough money. You have not put yourself in a position to be willing to pay the appropriate cost for what it is that you want. So not only do you have to be clear with yourself and say, yes, I am willing to pay the price for the goal that I desire, make sure you understand what it's going to cost you. Count the cost. Count the cost. Okay, so that's number one. And all that was number one, you guys. Make a decision. What it is that you want. Make sure that that you are clear about how bad you want it, and then ask yourself, are you willing to pay the price? Number two, commit. Commit. Merriam-Webster defines commitment, or says to commit means to carry into action deliberately. Commit means to carry into action deliberately. In other words, you have to be intentional with your words, with your thoughts, and with your habits and your environment, so that it all lines up with what it is that you want for yourself. You have to carry into action deliberately. So when you say, I commit to losing weight, I commit to becoming a millionaire, I commit to becoming a top executive in my company, I commit to this relationship, I commit to this marriage, that means that you carry into action deliberately. You take deliberate action. You take deliberate steps to change your words, to change your thoughts, to change your habits, and to change your environment. Your environment is that one thing that we don't often think about when we think about setting goals and changing and achieving results. Your environment has just as much to do with your success rate as anything else does. You can take all the right actions in the world, but if your environment isn't right, you're going to have a hard time achieving goal. And for some reason, I don't know why this came into my mind, but it's just like you trying, like somebody trying to say, I am going to be faithful to my woman, but you're sitting here all day, every day watching porn. You're sitting here all day, every day watching naked women, stroll around you and throwing themselves at you. You're going to have a hell of a hard time trying to stay faithful when you got literally naked women in front of you all day, every day. So you have to make sure that your environment is conducive to what it is that what you're working for. So let's go back to losing weight. Are you willing to put into deliberate action the steps that you need to join the gym? Are you willing to put into deliberate action to get healthy foods in your house? And I remember this joke or this meme about, I was preparing for my diet, so I ended up eating all the cookies and all the junk food in my house, so I had to get rid of them. So that's not exactly what I would consider a commitment to your goal, because you're consuming all these extra calories, consuming all this stuff, and you make your excuse to say, well, I don't want to throw it away because that's money I'm throwing away. And that's not about the money. It's about taking steps towards your goal. So yes, throwing away the junk food is going to help you achieve that goal. Going to the gym, getting the gym membership is putting into deliberate action, going into deliberate action towards losing the relationship. Let's say you want to start a business. You want to take deliberate action to set up the structure you need to run a business. You go and get a business license. You go and start creating a business plan. You go and start doing your research. You begin to take deliberate action towards your goal. That is what a commitment is. And here's a note that you want to add to that as well. You want to get rid of your contingency plans. A contingency plan is different from a recovery plan when you hit a snag in the road, or you get to a setback or something like that. A contingency plan basically says, if I don't lose the weight, I will do this instead. If I am not a success in my business, I will do this instead. If this relationship doesn't work out, I have somebody in my back pocket that I could fall back on. I know people who are like that. That's a contingency plan. And it's very similar to the logic of divorce, right? A lot of people say, and I've been divorced too, so I know the thought process. It's like saying, I am not committed to this. It's like saying, if this relationship doesn't work out, this marriage doesn't work out, I can always file for a divorce. So you have this contingency plan in your mind that lets you know that you have the option of only going so far, and then you could bail out. But when you take away that contingency plan, when you take away that option of giving up or giving in, that keeps you focused. There's this story, and I honestly cannot remember where this comes from. And this is supposedly a true story about, before all the technology and stuff, when different countries and different tribes used to raid on different countries, right? So there was a war happening, and this general was leading his troops into war. So they got to the enemy's territory by boat. They came onto the shore, they unloaded all the troops, unloaded all the food, unloaded all the supplies. And then they sent the ship they came in on back out to sea on fire. They literally burned the only way they could escape. And the general's mantra to his troops was no surrender, no retreat, meaning that you're going to get this done and you're going to die trying. That's really where that mantra came from. We're going to get it done or we're going to die trying. And when you have that kind of commitment to anything in life, whether it is your relationship, your job, your money, your family, your kids, your husband, whatever, you take away that contingency plan and you begin to become a problem solver. Was that Columbus? Girl, you sure? I don't know. I have to research that. I don't remember. I don't remember Columbus being associated with that story. That is funny. No, that couldn't have been Columbus because he went back to England at some point. Anyway, I'll figure it out. Hey, Kim, thank you for joining. But when you have that type of focus, and you know that you have no exit strategy, only strategy that you have is an overcome strategy that keeps you moving forward. See, half the reason that we keep starting all the way back over from scratch, from starting point number one, is because we've given ourselves the option to go back to number one. Hey, Dorothy, that's my aunt, you guys. Say hi to my aunt Dorothy. So it was Columbus, Melissa. I'm gonna have to look that up, y'all. That is funny. That is so funny. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So when you give yourself that option to go back to where you come from, you always have an exit strategy, and that is always in your mind. So as soon as things get hard, as soon as things begin to challenge you, you're like, oh, I must be doing something wrong. I'm going to start all the way back. I'm going to scratch all the progress I made and go all the way back to number one. No exit strategy, no surrender, no retreat. Your job is too important. Your purpose is too important. Your relationship is too important. What you are put on this earth to do is too important. Your health is too important for you to keep starting all the way back over from point number one. Yes, Patricia, no exit strategy. Hey, Michelle, didn't I say hi? Oh, you're talking to my aunt. I'm sorry. I said, didn't we already speak? Hey, Tanisha, thank you for joining. So take out all those contingency plans, no exit strategies. Always only have a strategy to overcome. Okay, so that's number two. Number three, have a plan. You've heard this before, and I'm going to say it here again because it's a true statement. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I don't care how good your intentions are. I don't care how clear your goals are. If you do not have a plan, if you do not have a strategy, guess what? How are you going to take action? It's like you're trying to, I know, Rochelle, I got caught up in what I was saying, and I forgot to tell y'all say hi to my aunt. But yeah, definitely say hi to my aunt Dorothy. She is my mom's sister. That's where I get all my good looks from my mom's side of the family. Oh my goodness, let me quit. But when you don't have that plan to succeed, how are you going to get from point A to point B? How will you know when you've actually arrived? It's just like you going on a road trip, or you're going to southwest.com to buy a plane ticket, but you don't know where you're going. How do you know which plane ticket to buy? How do you know if it's the right plane ticket? How do you know if you're going the long way or the short way? If you don't have a plan, how will you achieve? And there's this quote that I want to read to you guys by Alan Lakin. It says, planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now. I'll repeat that. Planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now. And that is that sums up the purpose of planning. You plan. I shared this with someone the other day. Begin with the end in mind. Stephen Covey says that. Begin with the end in mind. So you're here today. You have a clear vision where you want to be tomorrow. It's up to you to draw that roadmap from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow. And what you're doing is that you're bringing your future into your reality. You're bringing your vision into fruition. You're bringing into something from an intangible state into a tangible state. This is why I encourage people to write down your plans, to type up your plans, to put your plans on paper, because, and I mentioned this yesterday, oftentimes we'll talk a good talk. We will talk about all the plans that we have and all the good intentions that we have, but we fail to write it down, because when you write it down, it becomes real, it becomes tangible. You can touch it on a piece of paper. Here is my plan for losing weight. I'm going to join the gym tomorrow. I'm going to start working out 30 minutes every day. I'm going to check in with my accountability partner every Saturday morning. I'm going to take pictures of my progress. You have an exact plan of what it is that you need to do. It becomes real and tangible when you actually put it on paper. So and what I would suggest is have a weekly plan. Have a weekly plan of what it is that you desire to do. So what do you need to do this week to get you closer to your goal? You don't always have to plan for quantum leaps. Plan for smaller steps and let God quantum leap you. Where we get stressed out and discouraged is when we're trying to accelerate our lives, accelerate the process, accelerate or make our progress take this quantum leap. Here's the thing about that. Only God really has the power to give you that quantum leap. He's the one who puts you in the right positions, who miraculously move people and situations and resources into your favor, so that as you're moving from step 1 to step 2, from step 2 to step 3, all of a sudden you move from step 3 to step 300. That is God doing that. But you have to be in motion. You have to be on the right path for that quantum leap to happen. Some of us sit back and say, well, I'm waiting on God to move. Yeah, and I should have looked this verse up and I forgot to. There's a verse that says, show me your faith without works, and I'll show you my faith by my works. And that is just saying that we could stand here and believe all we want to. We could stand here, and it's different from the verse that says faith without works is dead. It's another conversation that Paul was having. And I want to say it's in the book of James. I'll look it up for you. But you have to show your faith, show your belief through your actions, not through your words, not through your thoughts. Those are important, but you show your faith and what you're working towards and what you're believing God for by your actions. So what are you doing this week to take those steps? And don't be so hard on yourself. You'll fool around and sabotage your own progress because you're like, man, I should have hiked 28 miles this week. I only hiked 2 miles. So what? Like you said, Patricia, take it one day at a time, one thing at a time, and build up your stamina, build up your confidence. We tear ourselves down before we even begin to build up a really good momentum. We start judging ourselves. We start punishing ourselves. No, have a plan and work that plan. Make it realistic for who you are and where you are in life. Now, don't count yourself short. Still leave room in your life and in your plan for a miracle, because that's a mistake I used to make. I used to create all these beautiful plans for my life, for my business, for this and for that. And my plans be so airtight. God looking at that thing like, wow, I don't see my name nowhere in here, Sharika. I'm just supposed to do what you tell me to do like that? I imagine that's what God be saying when I give him my plans, right? And while God does want us to plan, because the Bible does tell us who builds a tower without first counting its cost, meaning that who goes out and makes a decision to do something without formulating a plan. So you can have a plan, but make sure that you follow God's plan. Make sure that you include God's plan into your planning. Make sure that your planning is being led by the Spirit of God who's already working within you. So So how do you do this? Here are some questions to ask when you are working your plan. Okay. So, when you were creating a plan. So let's say you have a plan to spend more time with your family, right? You work a whole lot and your family life is suffering. And so you have a desire to spend more time with your family. So you decide what is it that you want to do? Do you want to have game night more often? Do you want to have dinner time? What exactly do you want to do? Where are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? How much money is it going to cost? And how much time is it going to cost? You see, sometimes when we create our plans, we don't think about how much money is going to cost or how much time is required of you. So let's say you decide you want to plan a game night for your family every Friday night so that you guys can spend more time with each other. Well, how much time is that going to cost? If you don't get home to 8 o'clock at night, is it realistic for you to say we want to have a 3-hour game night on Friday night? We don't get home to 8, then you gotta, get showered and do dinner and stuff like that. You won't be ready for game night to 10 o'clock on a Friday night, and your family may be asleep already. So go through those questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how. Is that 5? Who, what, when, where, why, how? 6 questions. That's how you create your plan, because now you're covering all your bases. Okay, and then you simply implement the plan. So the next step is to assess. So you made a decision, you made a commitment, you have a plan now, and you've been implementing that plan. So now it's time to assess. Now it's time to assess your progress. It's time to assess whether or not you're getting results. And you can do a weekly assessment or even a daily assessment. And when you do these assessments, you look at yourself and say, weight loss, just for example, it's been a week and I have lost ½ a pound and ½ an inch off my waist. What were your challenges and roadblocks? So you're going through your regular work week, and your challenges were, man, as soon as I got to work on Thursday morning, it was somebody's birthday. There was this whole chocolate cake with chocolate fudge icing just sitting there right in the break room. There's only one break room, and I honestly just could not resist the chocolate cake because it looked so good and so delicious and so moist. It was from Portillo's, and they have the best chocolate cake ever of any place I've ever been to. So that was a challenge because I could not bring myself to resist that chocolate cake. So now you've identified your challenges, and you're not beating yourself up for giving into that chocolate cake. You have just identified the challenge. You have identified the roadblock. So now is where you create your plan to overcome the roadblock. Okay, if that chocolate cake appears in a break room again on Monday morning, what am I going to do? Your plan is to immediately do a 180 and they take a beeline out of that break room, because if you can't see it, if you can't smell it, then you don't desire it. You go back to your desk and you look at your goal and says, my goal for this week is to lose 5 pounds. And in order to stay committed to that goal, then I am going to avoid excess sugar and excess sweets. So you remind yourself of your goal and why you are doing it. Why are you going towards this weight loss? Why do you want to restore your marriage? Why do you want to improve your finances? Why do you want to become a top executive in your company? You remind yourself of what you're doing and why you're doing it. And then ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth me being uncommitted to my process for just a moment? Is it, would you say, Michelle, side eye the cake while leaving? Exactly. My vice is actually chocolate chip cookies or cinnamon roll, y'all. So yeah, that's one of my things. But you side eye that thing, but you keep on moving away from what's going to distract you and move towards what's going to help you. So you create an alternative. Now that you have reminded yourself why it is you're doing what you're doing, what is an alternative to that chocolate cake? What is the alternative to going on that shopping spree? What is the alternative to engaging in a fight with their husband? What is that alternative to that distraction or to that setback or to that roadblock that you've been presented in front of you? So then now that you, and here's And I'll be honest with you, it's a lot of thought process. It's a lot of brain work. I'm telling you to think a whole lot. Why? Because it's the mindlessness that creates the bad habits. It is the mindlessness that creates that causes us to give in to things that are not good for our health, good for our minds, good for our spirits, or even good for our relationships. We say that we want a loving and peaceful relationship, but then we snap at our husband all the time. We snap at our wives all the time. No, because you're doing those things out of habit. You're doing those things because you haven't stopped to first think and then take action. So the things I'm telling you to do requires brain power. It requires thought power. It requires self-discipline, mental discipline, and emotional discipline. So, and you get that discipline through practice. That means that you begin to have an assessment of yourself on a regular basis. I do prefer a daily basis to assess yourself and assess your progress, but a weekly basis is fine as well, because when you do it on a daily basis, you get to go back and think through your day and say, yeah, I really should not have went off on my husband like that. I really should not have said that thing to my coworker like that, or I really should not have bought that $500 pair of shoes. I found these cute shoes today, y'all. And I'm like, yeah, no, that does not help me get to my goal. Excuse me. So when you do those daily assessments, it allows you to take immediate action to overcome that. So you made a mistake on Monday by going off on your husband. On Tuesday, you know what? I have my mind right and my spirit right. I want this relationship to work. So today, I don't care what my husband does to piss me the hell off. I am going to wear a smile, and in my mind, I'm going to say, I'm going to let God deal with you. I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to respect you. And I'm going to still do right by you because I want this relationship to work. I'm going to listen to you with an open ear and an open heart instead of just snapping off on you. I am going to choose to try and understand your perspective instead of always trying to get you to understand my perspective. I'm going to shift my perspective and change my habits so I can make sure I am doing what I need to do to accomplish the goal of making this relationship work. I'm not going to try and control you at all. I'm only going to control myself and let God handle the rest. That is mental discipline, emotional discipline, and spiritual discipline. What you say, Melissa? It was Herman Cortez during the conquest of Mexico. All right, you went and Googled it. Melissa, you are a girl after my own heart. I am that kind of person who goes and, excuse me, guys, who goes and does the research. Yes, mindlessness and self-sabotage causes us to keep falling off track. We just stay connected to God at all times to be in alignment with Him. Totally applies to any and all relationships. Absolutely right. Stay connected to God at all times. And that requires you to step back and think and connect. And you guys remember that, this is back in the 90s or so, or maybe the 2000s, they had a little wristband that says WWJD, what would Jesus do? Same concept. Step back and say, is this what the Holy Spirit would have me to do? If Jesus was in this situation, would he be turning tables, or would he be turning tables and blessing them at the same time? I'm being funny, you guys, but you get the point, right? You have to make sure that you are being spirit-led versus being led by your emotions, versus being led by your immediate gratification, versus being led by your ego who wants to be right first and seek to understand later. So this is where you want to have that assessment and then work the plan to overcome the setbacks and the roadblocks. This is the point right here that people tend to start over. This is the point right here where people begin to start over because they're like, man, every day I'm arguing with my husband, or every day I find myself messing up on my diet, or every day I am spending too much money. And well, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to, finish out this week, do whatever I want to. And then on Monday, I'm going to start all over. You realize what's happening? Instead of you saying, okay, I messed up today, and I messed up yesterday, and I messed up the day before, instead of seeing what the what the underlying reasoning was and start implementing different things to try and break that habit, you give into it. And you say, I'm going to finish out this week with those bad habits, doing those things that are not getting me towards my goal. Which, guess what? If it's not moving you towards your goal, it's moving you further away from your goal, further away from the relationship you desire, further away from the money that you want, further away from the health that you want. You're constantly moving away. So by the time you actually start over, you are actually behind the 8 ball. You are worse off than what you were when you first decided to set that goal and start working towards that goal. This is why this assessment is so important. If you can do it on a daily basis, do it on a daily basis. But have that assessment so that you can identify the roadblocks and constantly work towards overcoming that roadblock. You don't give into it. You persevere. You push through that thing because even if you cannot overcome it in one try, as long as you keep on trying, you will. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you climb a mountain? One step at a time. You don't expect to climb a mountain in one fell swoop. No, one step at a time, one foot in front of the other until you overcome it. Would you say, yeah? Would you say, Melissa, yes, I've been there over in Mondays for a year. Yeah, completely out of control. Yeah. Yeah, and so the goal here is to take back control so that you don't constantly defeat yourself by giving in to those mistakes, giving in to those perceived failures, giving in to those setbacks. So pause where you are, assess the situation, make a recovery plan, and then execute that recovery plan until you overcome that thing. And the last step in the process is to recommit. So now that you are assessing every day that you assess, you get up the next day, you have to recommit yourself. And remember, the definition of commitment was to what? Carry into action deliberately. So when you recommit yourself every single day, you get up, you say, I commit myself to this relationship. I commit myself to my weight loss goals. I commit myself to become a successful entrepreneur. I commit myself to be the best mother I can be. I commit myself to changing the world. You recommit yourself every single day with your words and with deliberate action. So you ask yourself, what am I going to do today to show the world and to show myself that I am committed to that thing I said I am committed to? If you are committed to your relationship, then you take that dude out your back pocket and you block his number, delete his number from your phone. If you say that I am recommitting myself on a daily basis to losing the weight, that means that you don't keep any change in your purse so you can go to the snack machine at work. You recommit to yourself by taking daily deliberate action towards your goal. Rearrange your schedule so that you can have the time to work out and exercise. You rearrange your weekly schedule so that you have time to spend with your husband. If you need to spend more time with yourself and take care of yourself mentally and spiritually so that you can always be spiritually connected to God, then you rearrange your schedule and make room in your schedule to get up and pray in the morning or have that quiet, sacred time at night before you go to bed. You do what you got to do every day to show your commitment to yourself, because what that does is that it keeps it in the forefront. Remember what I said earlier, when you're focused in on something, it becomes crystal clear. The lines are clear. There's no blurred lines. There's no blurred images. You see exactly what it is that you want, and you go after it every single day because it's in front of you every single day. You are focused on it, and nothing can distract you from it. Recommit to that thing every single day. It is a daily process. Okay, you guys, you got it? You got it. Thank you, Tanisha. So that's really the 5-step process here. The first step is to decide. Then the second step is to commit. The third step is to plan. The fourth step is to assess. And the fifth step is to recommit. And you do this on a daily basis every single day. And you can apply this to every single area of your life. That's really it. It's simple, but it's not simple. Why? Because we overcomplicate things. We get into our feelings. Oh, this is so hard. I don't feel like doing this. I got to do this again. I am tired of climbing this mountain. Again, ask yourself, how bad do you want it? Are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to pay the cost? Are you willing to make the sacrifices you need to make in order to fully become the woman that God desires for you to be? Are you willing to do what it takes in order to fully call in and receive the blessings that God has for you? Because here's the thing I want to remind you of, that there are tons of blessings and tons of miracles with your name on it. But are you willing to receive it? You are wanting to become a millionaire, but you're not creating the habit of good money management. Do you think that God's going to give you $1 million so you can blow it when he intends for you to be a blessing to other people with that $1 million? No, because if you cannot be a good steward of the little, you cannot be a good steward of the lot. That's why you have to discipline your emotions, discipline these bad habits, discipline your thoughts so that you are always in alignment with what it is that God has for your life. Always keeping the big picture in mind, always beginning with the end in mind, so that when you are tempted to give up, so that when you are tempted to start over, so that when you are tempted to give in to those bad habits and those bad circumstances and whatever it is that is distracting you from your purpose for what you're going after, you're like, nope. I remember the vision that God gave me. I remember the goals and the commitment that I made to myself and to God to lose the weight, to save the money, to start the business, to be a better mother, or whatever it is you committed to. I remember that commitment, and I am a woman of my word. I am a person of my word, and I am going to remain committed. All right, you guys, I hope and pray that this message was a blessing to you. I want to hear from you. If you have any major takeaways from today's lesson, leave a comment below in the comment box. If this message has blessed you, please look below and hit the share button. Share this video with your friends and family, because again, if this has blessed you, I bet that you know at least 3 people in your circle whom this video would bless as well. If you have any questions or comments about something I've said here today, or you want me to explain something a little bit more, leave me a comment below, or you can send me a private message here on Facebook. All right, you guys, so we have one more conversation left for our Soulful Conversation series for this week. And tomorrow's conversation is about sabotaging relationships, because we as humans, and especially we as women, we were created for relationships. But for us to be so relationship oriented, we have a hard time with female relationships. We have a hard time with family relationships, always being the enabler or always feeling used with relationships. And then we have a hard time with romantic relationships. So the question becomes, are you sabotaging your relationships and you don't even know it? So I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that could be secretly sabotaging relationships, no matter what kind of relationship we're talking about, and what you can do to overcome it. So be sure to meet me back here tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for another Soulful Conversation. All right, you guys, thank you again so much for all of you joining me here tonight, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great night. Bye-bye.